Today, we've got a product of the year contender with a projector that is effectively rewriting the rulebook for home cinema, the Xgimi Titan Noir Max. This powerhouse isn't just about raw specs, though its 7000 ISO Lumens, RGB Triple Laser light engine, and dual iris system provide a foundation of brightness and color that is frankly staggering. With a 10,000:1 native contrast ratio that scales to a massive 100,000:1 via DBLE, alongside anti-RBE technology and a gaming suite featuring VRR, auto low latency mode, and a blistering 1 millisecond input lag, it checks every conceivable box for the modern enthusiast. But beyond the numbers and the HDMI ER connectivity, this machine delivers what I can confidently call the best 3D experience at home that I have ever seen, making it a definitive contender for the ultimate centerpiece of your home theater. For this review, I've got the Xgimi Titan Noir Max mated to a 110-inch acoustically transparent CMOS screen excellence with a 1.0 gain. Comparisons will be made with an Epson QB1000 and a madVR Envy Core processor. The Tron Airy sequence immediately highlights the Titan's raw performance. We're seeing incredible peak brightness and color saturation that absolutely pops. However, while the dynamic tone mapping handles the high intensity scenes well, it lacks the surgical precision of a dedicated processor like madVR. You'll notice the red channel occasionally pushes into oversaturation, and the highlights, specifically the white light on the actors, exhibit a cooler, slightly bluish chromatic bias compared to a neutral reference. When it comes to sheer output though, the Titan is in a league of its own. It wins the luminance battle hands down. When comparing the dynamic tone mapping side by side with a reference setup, the difference in tracking accuracy becomes clear. But the Titan's ability to maintain image drive and wow factor through its high lumen count is a significant visual treat. In the F1 sequence, we see a starker contrast in HDR color rendering, particularly in the green spectrum. Looking at the trackside foliage, the Titan produces a flatter, more uniform green. In contrast, the madVR-driven setup renders a much more naturalistic landscape with nuanced tonal shifts. The Titan's dynamic tone mapping struggles to resolve the complex specular reflections of the green surroundings, like the signage and grass, bouncing off of the driver's helmet and the car's chassis. Surprisingly though, even with more than double the brightness of the Epson, the Titan's black levels are remarkably deep. In a side-by-side comparison, the Titan manages to edge out the Epson with inkier, more convincing blacks, proving that Xgimi has managed to maintain high contrast without sacrificing its massive brightness headroom. The Super Mario Bros. Test highlights the Titan's massive light engine, but it also reveals a slight shift in color temperature. The image can appear somewhat washed out, with reds leaning toward magenta compared to the Epson madVR combo. However, this is largely a calibration issue. Because the Titan has so much light rendering power, a professional calibration or an external processor could easily correct these shifts, allowing it to compete with high-end offerings from Sony or JVC. While the reds lean magenta, the color volume is objectively massive. Because of the RGB Triple Laser source, the Titan is capable of hitting deep saturations that a lamp-based projector just simply can't reach. The washed out look isn't a lack of color, it's a calibration gap where the brightness is currently outpacing the color tracking. The most important takeaway for enthusiasts is the calibration headroom. It is much easier to rein in an overly bright, wide gamut image than it is to try and force brightness out of a dim projector. And with the Titan's massive 7,000 lumen ceiling, a professional calibrator has an incredible amount of dynamic range to work with. Moving to alpha, we can really stress test the native contrast and black levels. The Titan performs phenomenally here. Usually, ultra high brightness projectors suffer from gray blacks or a washed out appearance in low light scenes, but the Titan's dynamic tone mapping does a stellar job of maintaining image integrity and depth even in the darkest frames. Where the madVR setup maintains its lead is in the vibrancy and heat of the fire effects. In the Titan's render, the flames and embers feel slightly more two-dimensional or flat. It's a minor gripe in the grand scheme of things, but it shows where dedicated processing still holds the crown for high dynamic range highlights. The most impressive takeaway in the alpha night scenes is the star field reproduction. Thanks to the extra lumens, the Titan allows every individual star to pierce through the black backdrop without crushing shadow detail. It's like the difference between looking at the sky from a light-polluted city versus the middle of the country. You get all of the tiny details without losing the depth of the pitch black sky. The Titan is a powerhouse of compatibility, supporting Dolby Vision, HDR10 Plus, and IMAX Enhanced. Comparing the Titan's native Dolby Vision implementation against the madVR dynamic tone mapping, the results are shockingly close. While the Titan slightly wins on black foredepth, they are remarkably evenly matched. For streaming content, you'd be hard-pressed to find a definitive winner, which speaks volumes of Xgimi's internal processing. And we have to talk about perceived sharpness. While the Titan utilizes E-shift technology, the execution is flawless. This is arguably one of the sharpest images I have ever seen on a projector. It matches and perhaps slightly exceeds the Valerian Vision Master Max that I reviewed earlier this year. And finally, we have to discuss 3D. While the 2D performance is impressive, the 3D capabilities of the Titan Noir Max are arguably its most standout achievement. This isn't just an add-on feature, it is quite frankly the most redefined 3D experience I have ever encountered in a consumer-grade chassis. Solving the 3D light loss dilemma historically, 3D on projectors has been a game of compromises. Because 3D glasses significantly cut down on light transmission, most projectors struggle to maintain a vibrant image. The Titan's massive lumen floor solves this light loss issue entirely, keeping the image punchy and bright even through the lenses. One of the biggest 3D killers is crosstalk. You know, that distracting double image or ghosting effect. On the Titan, crosstalk is non-existent. The synchronization is flawless, resulting in a clean, stable image that allows your eyes to relax and fully engage with the depth of the frame. It's been years since I've integrated a 3D capable unit into my personal setup, and the Titan is a stark reminder of how truly immersive this format can be when executed correctly. It transforms the viewing experience from a flat window into a deep, tactile environment. Most projectors force you to choose between luminance and depth accuracy. So usually if you have enough brightness, the 3D sync is sloppy, or if the 3D is clean, it's too dim to enjoy. The Titan Noir Max is the rare exception that excels at both high net output and stereoscopic precision. This projector has single-handedly revitalized my entire interest in 3D media. I'm definitely keeping this unit in my setup specifically as my dedicated 3D driver. It breathes new life into older titles, making them feel like a completely different theatrical experience. The Xgimi Titan Noir Max isn't just another entry into the premium projector market. It is a disruptive force that challenges the status quo of high-end home cinema. By successfully bridging the gap between massive 7,000 ISO Lumen output and the deep inky black levels typically reserved for much pricier competitors like Sony and JVC, Xgimi has created a no-compromise machine. Whether you're chasing the peak of HDR performance through Dolby Vision or looking to revitalize a legacy 3D collection with the best stereoscopic engine currently available, this projector delivers a level of versatility and raw visual power that is simply unmatched in its price bracket. Because of its phenomenal native contrast, industry-leading sharpness, and a 3D experience that finally solves the brightness versus clarity dilemma, I am officially awarding the Xgimi Titan Noir Max the Hatoraid Cowboy Top Pick Badge for 2026. If you're looking for a centerpiece for your home theater that offers massive headroom for professional calibration while delivering a jaw-dropping, out-of-the-box experience, the Titan Noir Max is the definitive choice for the modern enthusiast. It's a rare piece of hardware that doesn't just meet expectations, it completely resets them. I'll leave links in the description where you can purchase the Titan Noir Max for yourself. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.